Have you felt it? That heavy, quiet tension hanging in the air, like a storm that just won't break. There's something happening beneath the surface of our everyday lives. Something vast and invisible that's beginning to stir. The air doesn't feel the same. Time feels like it's bending in strange ways, stretching, collapsing, and warping unpredictably. Most people dismiss it as stress or imagination. But somewhere deep inside, in a part of you that remembers things beyond this lifetime, you know the truth. This isn't ordinary. Something ancient and unstoppable has already been set in motion. The Pleiadians have finally broken their silence. Their message doesn't come wrapped in mystery or softened with pleasantries. It's direct, urgent, and it carries a warning unlike anything we've ever encountered. What's unfolding isn't just the collapse of a country or the fall of an economy. It's the unraveling of everything we've come to rely on. Political systems, financial empires, technological networks, even the unseen energetic forces that support human life are beginning to fracture. This isn't something that's about to happen. It's already started, quietly, subtly, like cracks forming beneath the frozen surface of a lake. Most people won't notice until the final moment. They'll cling to their habits, their comforts, the illusion of stability, until the ground disappears from beneath their feet. They'll laugh off the signs, reject the warnings, and refuse to imagine that the world they've always known could come undone overnight. But denial doesn't stop what's already moving. The Pleiadians have seen this pattern before, countless times, on other planets and in forgotten civilizations. They've watched as societies just like ours stood on the same edge we're standing on now. Some chose to wake up and reached unimaginable heights. Others stayed asleep and were swallowed by the weight of their own collapse. Now they're reaching out, not to frighten us, but to prepare those who are ready to listen. They aren't here to save us. They're not offering quick solutions or easy exits. Instead, they're holding up a mirror and asking us to look. We have a choice, to awaken or to be swept away by what's coming. The forces moving through our world now are bigger than governments, bigger than economies, bigger than anything we've ever had control over. This collapse won't look like a single cataclysmic event. It will be a slow and unstoppable unraveling. One system will weaken, then another, then another. Trust will fade. Foundations will give out, until the illusion of permanence finally crumbles. As you hear these words, something within you may stir, a feeling, a knowing, a remembrance. You chose to be here for this, not to hold on to what's falling, but to witness it fall and to help shape what will rise in its place. But the window to prepare is closing. What you do now, with your thoughts, your spirit, your actions, will determine the path you walk when the final veil lifts. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal might shift the way you see everything, not just the world around you, but your own place in it. The warning has already been sounded. The unraveling has already begun. And the time to awaken isn't in the future, it's right now. What's breaking down isn't happening loudly. It's not coming with explosions or headlines. It's happening quietly, invisibly, beneath the surface of daily life. Deep within the earth, the magnetic fields are beginning to distort. These fields, like invisible rivers of energy, once moved in steady patterns, maintaining the natural balance of the planet and supporting the systems we built on top of that foundation. As these patterns weaken and twist, something begins to decay, not just physically, but energetically. Our infrastructure, buildings, bridges, communication networks, all begin to weaken at their core. The damage is still hard to detect, but like a tiny crack in a dam, it will eventually give way when too much pressure builds up. At the same time, emotional chaos is spreading through human societies like a wildfire. And it's not random. Just as Earth has magnetic fields, it also has emotional ones, fields of collective energy that surround and influence us. These fields are becoming more turbulent, stirring up waves of fear, confusion, anger, and despair. People are more reactive, Arguments are escalating faster. Communities once bound together by peace are splitting apart over the smallest things. Trust is breaking. The air itself feels heavier with tension. And as emotional turbulence grows, logical thinking fades. People stop making sense. They act on impulse. Order begins to fall apart, not through violence, but through emotional instability. And there's something even deeper happening, something even quieter. Earth itself has a frequency, a resonance, a kind of heartbeat. It once hummed with a natural rhythm, a subtle frequency that leaders, dreamers, and visionaries unknowingly tuned into. This heartbeat helped guide wise decisions, supported clarity, and empowered insight. But now that resonance is being corrupted, twisted, polluted. As a result, the people we look to for leadership are losing their ability to see clearly. Their decisions are becoming more chaotic, more reactive, more short-sighted. This isn't just human error. It's a disruption in the energy that once supported wisdom. So across every form of leadership, from governments to corporations to communities, things are collapsing from within, influenced by invisible forces that move unnoticed through the collective field. Another critical shift is happening through the Earth's ancient ley lines. These energetic currents have flowed across the planet for thousands of years, connecting sacred places, power centers, and energetic hubs. For centuries, they've nourished both the Earth and human civilization. But now, in many places, these currents are reversing or drying up completely. Energy centers that once pulsed with life now feel drained and hollow. Places that used to radiate power and vibrance now feel strangely empty. This subtle but powerful loss of energetic flow weakens everything we depend on: communication, transportation, even governance. The systems we take for granted are becoming fragile and brittle, and all it will take is one small push for everything to fall apart. And then there's the strange rise in electronic interference. Devices glitch for no reason. Internet outages are happening in places once considered reliable. Satellites act unpredictably. Air traffic control systems report bizarre anomalies. These aren't isolated errors. They're symptoms of a deeper disturbance. The energetic fabric that once held our technology together is being disrupted. And as this interference grows, the systems we rely on for communication, navigation, finance, all of it, will become more unstable. When these failures begin happening together, at critical moments, they'll speed up the collapse in ways we won't be able to contain. The invisible breakdown is not something that might happen. It is happening right now. But because it doesn't show up in obvious ways, most people won't notice until the things they trust begin to collapse, suddenly and without warning. From the Pleiadian perspective, this isn't just a political or economic crisis. It's not just social unrest. What's happening now is far bigger than any of that. It's cosmic in nature. This collapse is the result of a deep energetic mismatch that can no longer be ignored. The systems we've lived with, governments, education, healthcare, finance, technology, they were all created within a slower, denser frequency. For a long time, that worked. Those structures matched the energy of the planet, like skin that fits a body. But now, Earth is receiving an influx of new galactic frequencies. Faster, lighter, more expansive. These energies are like streams of starlight, flowing in to activate the next stage of life's evolution. The old systems, those built on fear, control, and limitation, can't survive in this new frequency. They're breaking down because they no longer fit. They don't belong in the world that's beginning to emerge. And this transformation isn't random. It's connected to the completion of a great cosmic cycle, one that has been turning for over 26,000 years. This cycle is like the galaxy's breath, and Earth has moved through it like seasons through a year. That cycle is ending now, and with its end comes a necessary release. Old structures must fall away to make space for something new to be born. From a higher perspective, this collapse isn't a punishment. It's a natural and essential part of evolution. Just like a tree must shed its old bark to grow stronger, Earth must now let go of the systems that once served, but have since become prisons. No government, no movement, no human decision can stop what's already unfolding. But you are not powerless. You were born into this time for a reason. You came here to witness this change and to help guide what comes next. The future will not be decided by institutions or leaders. It will be shaped by those who choose to wake up, to feel, to listen, and to act from a deeper knowing. The time to do that is now. This moment in time is not just a shift. It is a profound unraveling of something deeply rooted in the cosmos. What we're witnessing is more than societal chaos or political division. It's a cosmic unraveling that is touching every layer of human existence. The painful signs are everywhere, but perhaps the most heart-wrenching one is the visible breaking apart of our shared human consciousness. Once, we were connected by a collective sense of purpose, by shared dreams, struggles, and hopes for the future. But now that once strong thread feels like it's snapping. People are splintering into isolated realities, each believing in completely different versions of what is real. Truth itself no longer feels unified. It's like it has been shattered into countless fragments, each reflecting a different world. From the perspective of the Pleiadians, what's unfolding isn't just confusion or disagreement. It's a full-on fracture of consciousness. And when the collective mind reaches this level of fragmentation, it can't be fixed with debates or social reforms. Even compassion alone won't be enough to mend what is broken. This kind of break signals the closing chapter of an old era. The structure itself must dissolve so that something entirely new, something more whole, more unified, can be born from the ashes. Another powerful force at work here is the great galactic realignment. The universe is never still. Stars, planets, galaxies, and even timelines are in constant motion, shifting into new alignments. Earth is now being pulled into one of these massive realignments, and with it comes a demand for deeper authenticity and a return to natural cosmic laws. The structures that humanity built, systems rooted in control, artificial hierarchies, and false separation, are now being ripped apart, not because they were inherently evil, but because they were never truly in harmony with the greater galactic flow. What we're witnessing is a growing tension between what's real and what's manufactured, and that tension is quickly reaching its breaking point. As the cosmic tide continues to rise, anything that lacks truth, anything rigid or built on domination, will begin to collapse under the weight of this greater movement. It's not a punishment, it's a recalibration. The energy of the universe is rebalancing itself, and Earth must align with that flow or be swept away by it. One of the most startling truths offered by the Pleiadians is that Earth's current timeline, the energetic scaffolding that holds our version of reality together, is reaching its natural expiration. Just like a beautiful sand mandala, created with intention and grace but always meant to be swept away when its time is done, this timeline has completed its purpose. It isn't ending because it failed. It's ending because it has fulfilled its sacred role. What many have believed to be permanent has only ever been temporary, and now it must give way to make space for something new, a timeline more in sync with the vibrational rhythms of the galaxy. This shift is not something we can stop. It's not something we can delay until we're ready. It's happening now, and it's sacred. But while the cosmic forces move with quiet inevitability, the human mind can become its own greatest obstacle. As systems around us start to falter, what may fall first is not infrastructure or institutions, but human awareness itself. For many, the real danger won't come from outside events, but from the inner traps of their own thinking. One of the most deceptive of these mental traps is something known as normalcy bias. It's the deeply ingrained belief that life tomorrow will continue just like it did yesterday. Even when signs of change grow louder and more obvious, many will hold fast to the idea that things are still normal. They'll brush off warnings, minimize chaos, and tell themselves it's just another rough patch. This refusal to see what is clearly unfolding will leave them unprepared emotionally and spiritually when the foundation they're standing on finally crumbles beneath them. Making things even more difficult is the constant noise, the never-ending stream of media, crises, and manufactured drama. News cycles and social platforms flood our minds with daily threats and emotional roller coasters. While some of these situations are real, many are amplified or even fabricated to keep us distracted and afraid. When we're constantly reacting to minor fires, we lose the ability to recognize the massive blaze approaching from the horizon. This fear-based distraction fragments our attention, drains our energy, and prevents us from engaging in the deep reflection required for true awakening. While we're busy running in circles, the real transformation continues silently in the background, unseen until it's too late to prepare. At the same time, another trap continues to spread like wildfire: addiction to constant stimulation. Modern life has been designed to keep us hooked: bright screens, fast content, non-stop entertainment. These distractions might seem harmless, but they slowly rob us of our ability to be still, to listen inwardly, or to truly reflect. We've lost the art of silence, the strength of contemplation. As a result, many people are no longer able to feel the deeper energetic shifts moving through our world. When real collapse begins, those who are addicted to external stimulation may find themselves unable to adapt or respond, simply because their attention has been shattered into. When real collapse begins, those who are addicted to external stimulation may find themselves unable to adapt or respond, simply because their attention has been shattered into too many pieces. But perhaps the most insidious trap of all is the lure of false light. As fear and uncertainty rise, people will naturally search for hope. This longing for something to believe in makes them vulnerable to beautiful-sounding deceptions. Messages will flood the world with comforting promises, words that soothe the spirit but carry hidden venom. There will be talk of salvation without action, promises that everything will be fine without change, reassurances that some higher power will fix it all for us. These messages will dull the sense of urgency, lull people into spiritual complacency, and encourage passivity when the moment calls for awakening. Many will fall into this spiritual sleep, unaware that they are being led away from their true path just when it matters most. Woven into all of this is another quiet danger: digital hypnosis. Every scroll, every click, every headline builds a trance-like state that numbs emotional sensitivity. We see so many images of suffering, fear, and outrage that we stop feeling them. The heart begins to shut down. Real life starts to feel distant. When every crisis looks like just another post, we lose the ability to respond to real emergencies with the seriousness they deserve. Digital hypnosis doesn't look dangerous, but it's one of the softest, most effective poisons for the soul. It gives the illusion of awareness while gradually stripping away our instincts, our presence, and our ability to awaken. Ultimately, it won't be outside disasters that undo most people. It will be inner blindness. The collapse that's coming won't wait until everyone's ready, and those who remain trapped in these mental prisons may find themselves swept away before they even understand what's happening. The future belongs not to those who wait for rescue, but to those who open their eyes, reclaim their awareness, and prepare their souls. And if anyone still questions whether this collapse is truly approaching, all they need to do is look at what the world's elite are doing behind the scenes. While they smile publicly and offer words of reassurance, their private actions speak volumes. One of the clearest signs is the sudden and widespread resignation of top CEOs across nearly every major industry, from tech to finance to global corporations. These are individuals who have spent entire careers building empires, and yet they are quietly stepping down, often with no clear explanation. On the surface, it may seem like ordinary career changes, but beneath it, something deeper is stirring. These leaders sense what is coming, and they are choosing to retreat before the storm breaks fully. Another telling move is their quiet acquisition of land, specifically land located on powerful energetic points of the earth. These sacred sites, often near ancient ley lines or spiritual nodes, are rich in natural energy. The elite understand that when the artificial world begins to crumble, True survival and power will come not from wealth or status, but from being connected to Earth's original frequencies. They are buying this land silently, fencing it off, and preparing it for a future where the natural balance will become the most valuable asset of all. They're not investing in cities or skylines anymore. They're returning to the roots, where the Earth still speaks clearly and powerfully. Underground, another level of preparation is unfolding. Away from public view, expansions of deep protected facilities are accelerating. These are not just emergency bunkers. They are entire underground ecosystems designed to operate independently of the surface world. Private companies, governments, and wealthy individuals are stockpiling food, creating renewable energy systems, and fortifying these underground sanctuaries to withstand whatever disruptions lie ahead. These aren't signs of temporary precautions. They're clear indicators that those with inside knowledge expect something profound and long-lasting. Even in their investments, the elite are signaling what they believe is coming, not a minor disruption, but a full-scale collapse of the current way of life. While most of the world sleeps or scrolls, they are preparing, quietly, methodically, and with a level of seriousness that should make the rest of us pause. The collapse is not a myth. It's not a theory. It's a transition already in motion, written in the stars, felt in the earth, and mirrored in the quiet, calculated actions of those who know how close the end of this chapter truly is. The people who have long held power are beginning to show their true concerns, not through words, but through quiet, deliberate actions. Behind the scenes, they're investing heavily in small, off-grid communities designed to survive independently. These aren't just ordinary neighborhoods, they're self-sustaining havens built far from the fragile systems most people still rely on. Powered by solar energy, equipped with their own clean water sources, homegrown food, and technology that works without the need for traditional infrastructure, these enclaves are being designed to thrive in isolation. What this shows, more than anything, is a growing lack of faith in the global systems that once seemed unshakable. The elite are no longer placing their bets on large cities or global networks. They aren't expecting stability from the very structures they helped build. Instead, they're preparing to retreat into places that can survive on their own when the outside world inevitably begins to falter. But even more unsettling than their physical preparations is what's happening in their private communications. There's been a sharp rise in the use of encrypted messages, private satellite phones, and secretive gatherings. These aren't simply meetings about policy or business, they're survival strategies being planned in total secrecy. The conversations they're having now are no longer about preventing collapse. They're about bracing for it. When the most powerful people in the world begin speaking in hushed tones and sending coded messages, it's not just a precaution, it's a sign they believe the systems we depend on the brink. They aren't making plans to save the world. They're making plans to save themselves. The question that haunts many is, what will fall first? This collapse won't be a single moment in time. It will unfold like a domino effect, one system breaking and pulling the others down with it. It begins with something intangible yet fundamental: trust. The trust that once held together governments, media, and global organizations will disintegrate almost overnight. People will start to see through the illusions, the half-truths, and the manipulation they once accepted. When that trust vanishes, it takes with it the legitimacy of those institutions. And without that belief, even the most powerful systems lose their grip. As the media begins to contradict itself and narratives clash, people will no longer know what to believe. Confusion will grow. Formerly stable institutions will become shadows of their former selves, their influence reduced to background noise. At the same time, the systems that feed and hydrate society will begin to break down. Local supply chains will falter suddenly and without warning. This won't be a slow decline. There will be moments when everything just stops. Trucks will no longer deliver food. Store shelves will empty at an alarming speed. Clean water will become a question, not a guarantee. Communities will be caught off guard, unsure of where their next meal is coming from. What once felt stable will feel more fragile than ever. The infrastructure that kept daily life running will collapse like shattered glass, sudden, sharp, and irreversible. And it won't stop there. The digital systems we rely on, our ability to communicate, to access information, to stay connected, will come under silent attack. At first, it will seem like nothing more than technical glitches, easy to dismiss. But soon, these glitches will become widespread failures. Entire regions may lose access to the internet or cellular networks. People won't be able to contact loved ones, follow events as they unfold, or find the truth in the chaos. The silence will be deafening. It will breed isolation, confusion, and a terrifying sense of disconnection from reality. As people lose their ability to communicate, the systems of power will lose their ability to control the narrative. And with that, the descent into uncertainty deepens. The energy grid will be next. Power outages will sweep across cities and towns, not in coordinated blackouts, but in messy, chaotic patterns. Some areas will be plunged into complete darkness for days. Others will flicker on and off unpredictably. The national energy grid, once a symbol of progress, will fracture. Homes, hospitals, and businesses will struggle to function. People will be forced to live in a world where energy is no longer a given, but a luxury. Yet amid all this external chaos, perhaps the most profound collapse will take place within. As these systems crumble, people will begin to feel an emotional breakdown unlike anything experienced before. When safety nets fail and daily life becomes a struggle, the pressure will be unbearable. Anxiety, fear, and trauma will spread rapidly. People will no longer know how to process what's happening around them. Communities that once offered strength and support will break apart under the emotional weight. The sense of collective overwhelm will rise, leaving many unable to cope. It will feel as if everyone is silently screaming, lost in a reality that's crumbling faster than they can comprehend. And beneath all of this, there's a deeper battle being waged. One that isn't physical at all, but spiritual. While society collapses on the surface, a hidden war is unfolding in the unseen realms, targeting the soul and consciousness of humanity. This isn't just about resources or power anymore. This is a war for the very essence of who we are. As fear and suffering take hold, dark spiritual forces grow stronger. One of the most troubling manifestations of this is the emergence of astral parasites, entities that feed on emotional pain. They are drawn to the energy of fear, despair, and anger, and they attach themselves to people's emotional states like leeches. The more intense the emotional distress, the more powerful these entities become. They don't just drain people of energy, they distort their emotions, amplify their fears, and push them deeper into helplessness. These aren't just metaphorical demons. They are very real in the astral world, and they flourish when humanity is at its lowest. In the midst of this spiritual vulnerability, deceptive figures will begin to rise. These false messiahs will appear in every corner of society, offering answers and salvation. But their guidance will be hollow, designed to mislead and manipulate. They will offer comforting lies, shortcuts to peace that only lead to deeper disconnection. Instead of helping people awaken to their true power, they'll distract them with illusions and promises that can never be fulfilled. These false saviors will play a critical role in the spiritual battle. They will keep people asleep, emotionally sedated, and spiritually disoriented. And while these illusions are being sold, another subtle attack will begin, one that strikes at the very core of personal identity. Memory will start to shift. People will experience distortions in how they remember their lives. Events will feel altered. Some may begin to question whether certain things even happened. This is not a malfunction. It is a form of psychic manipulation. By tampering with memory, dark forces seek to weaken people's sense of self. When someone begins to doubt their past, they also begin to doubt their intuition, their inner voice, and their truth. And that loss of personal clarity leads to something even more dangerous: astral fragmentation. This happens when people become so overwhelmed so disconnected from their own essence that they lose their sense of identity altogether. They drift through life feeling hollow, lost, and unable to grasp who they truly are. It's a severing of the soul from its center, and it makes people easy to control. When you don't know who you are, it's hard to resist being told who to be. At the heart of all this is an assault on humanity's greatest strength, the heart, the energy center that holds compassion, empathy, and love. When this is targeted, society begins to splinter. Without compassion, people stop caring for one another. Fear replaces understanding. Isolation replaces connection. These attacks on the heart are intentional and strategic. They aim to break apart the invisible bonds that keep people united. As love weakens, so too does our collective spiritual strength. What's left is a society frayed at every edge, with people turning inward out of fear, no longer reaching out with kindness. And as the external world falls apart and the internal world suffers attacks, reality itself will begin to shift. The physical world won't behave the way it used to. The sky may change color, showing hues and patterns never seen before. The atmosphere may ripple as if the veil between worlds is thinning. It will be like reality is reacting to human emotion, mirroring our collective state of mind. Even time will become unreliable. Some days will pass in a blur, others will feel like they stretch on forever. People will lose track of when things happened. The sense of linear time will fade, replaced by strange loops, pauses, and flashes that seem to make no sense. It will become hard to tell what's real and what isn't. As time bends and warps, the weather will grow increasingly unpredictable. Storms will appear in places where they were never expected. Temperature swings will become dramatic and unexplainable. The environment itself will seem to reflect the chaos within humanity. What we're witnessing is not just a breakdown of systems, it's a metamorphosis of reality. A great unraveling that stretches from the physical to the spiritual, from the systems that govern our world to the very fabric of time and space. And in that chaos, we will be forced to choose: succumb to fear, or awaken to a deeper truth within ourselves. The storm is not just outside, it is within, and how we navigate it will define not just our survival, but our evolution. What's coming is not something we'll be able to control. It will rise like a force of its own, untamed, unpredictable, and wild. The familiar sense that we can prepare, plan, or anticipate what lies ahead will begin to dissolve. Even our most advanced technologies and scientific understanding will feel powerless to explain the intensity of the upheaval. It will be as if the Earth itself is responding, reacting to a deep imbalance within its systems. And in doing so, it will reflect back to us a truth we've long avoided, that not even the planet can remain calm in the face of what's now unfolding. One of the deepest impacts of this collapse will be the way it disrupts our shared perception of reality. As the outer world continues to shift and twist, people will begin to experience life through very different lenses. Events that unfold may appear completely different depending on who's watching. Some will interpret what's happening one way, while others will see it entirely differently, even if they're witnessing the same thing. This split in perception will make people feel increasingly alienated, as if they're living in separate realities despite physically sharing the same space. The ability to relate to one another will become strained. We'll begin to question whether what we're seeing is real, or whether it's being seen the same way by others. That divide will breed confusion and a sense of isolation, as if the ground beneath our collective understanding has cracked open. What was once solid will feel surreal. Trusting in our own senses or anyone else's version of events will become a challenge. People will find themselves suspended in the strange space between what they used to believe and what they now see unfolding before their eyes. Amidst this unraveling, something extraordinary will begin to stir. Spontaneous spiritual awakenings will arise like lightning bolts, shaking people awake without warning. These moments won't be gradual or gentle. They'll hit with the force of emotional tidal waves. Individuals will be pulled into sudden states of clarity, where the world appears more alive, more connected, and more real than ever before. And with that clarity will come an overwhelming flood of emotion. It may come as sorrow, joy, fear, or awe. But whatever it is, it will be intense. The shift happening both within us and around us will move through our emotional bodies like a storm, uprooting everything we thought we knew. These awakenings will trigger something powerful, deep personal transformations that ripple outward into the larger collective. People will feel a spiritual weight pressing on their hearts, a call to understand themselves and their place in the world on an entirely new level. And because this shift is not just happening individually, but globally, there will be a collective sense of disorientation, a sense of being unmoored while something ancient and sacred rises up to take form. This period of collapse won't be limited to physical changes in the world around us. It will reach deep into the human psyche, opening up our inner worlds and pushing us into expanded states of consciousness. Everything we've known is being reshaped, and with that reshaping comes both chaos and clarity. As the Earth continues its unraveling, the Pleiadians offer their final instructions to those who are meant to survive and carry forward the light. Their guidance is not simply about enduring the breakdown of structures. It's a spiritual map for navigating the transformation that lies ahead. Their first and most vital message is this: trust your inner vision above all else. As the external world begins to warp and fall apart, what you see, hear, or sense through your physical body may no longer be reliable. The environment around you may become distorted, filled with illusions and false signals. But within you lies a deeper knowing, an inner sight that comes from the soul. It's this inner vision, this quiet, intuitive voice, that will become your compass in the storm. When the world becomes too confusing to understand, that inner sense of truth will guide you to what's real. It doesn't depend on external conditions. It exists in the stillness beyond the chaos. And the more you tune into it, the more you'll find your path, even when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. The next message is just as important: stay connected. In moments of collapse, it's tempting to pull away, to isolate yourself in fear or self-preservation. But that path will only lead to vulnerability. The Pleiadians remind us that our strength is not found in solitude, but in unity. What's coming is not something any one of us can face alone. Survival, on all levels, not just the physical, is a shared journey. It depends on our ability to support and uplift one another. As fear spreads and systems crumble, those who remain disconnected from others will struggle the most. But those who stay in community, who open their hearts, who lean into unity, will find a wellspring of resilience. That shared energy, that connection, will become a lifeline. This is about more than surviving the collapse itself. It's about holding each other through the emotional, mental, and spiritual challenges that come with it. When we join forces, when we hold space for each other, we become stronger than fear. We become vessels for healing, transformation, and the kind of deep spiritual endurance that the new world requires. The Pleiadians also remind us that the new Earth is not waiting in the future. It's already here, and it's inside us. The frequency of the new Earth, love, harmony, unity, and sacred connection, is not something we'll step into later. It's something we must begin to embody now. We can't afford to wait for the world to change. The change begins with each of us, aligning ourselves with the higher vibrations that are already being woven into the fabric of this moment. This means choosing love when fear is loudest. It means moving with compassion, even in the face of pain. And it means recognizing that we are not separate from the earth or the cosmos. We are a part of the whole, and our inner transformation is mirrored in the outer world. When we live from this frequency, we magnetize others who are on the same path. We become lighthouses in the storm, helping to guide others into this new paradigm. The more we anchor into that frequency now, the more stable we become, and the more we help call forth the future that is trying to be born through us. Another core message from the Pleiadians is about fear, how it's being used, and how we must learn to rise above it. Fear will be the final weapon used against humanity as the old systems fall. It's been used for generations to control and limit us. But now, as the structures collapse, fear will surge with even more intensity. It will try to paralyze us, to cloud our judgment, to twist our understanding of what's real. And yet, it is not fear itself that holds power. It's our relationship to it. We're being asked to meet fear head-on, to see it clearly, and to strip it of its control. When we learn to master fear, not by denying it, but by moving through it with awareness, we reclaim our power. Fear doesn't have to dictate our choices. It doesn't have to rule our lives. By choosing courage, by choosing love, even when fear is loud, we become unshakable. This is the work of spiritual warriors, to stand in clarity and light when the world goes dark. When we master fear, we free ourselves from the manipulation of collapsing systems, and we become sovereign once again. And finally, the most important shift of all, the collapse itself is not the end. It's a sacred beginning. The old structures were never meant to last forever. They've carried us as far as they could, and now they're crumbling to make room for something new. What looks like destruction is actually creation in disguise. The collapse is a spiritual initiation, a profound rebirth of humanity and the planet itself. The Pleiadians ask us to shift our perspective. Instead of mourning what's falling away, bless it. Recognize it as the necessary clearing that allows new life to grow. This isn't just about survival. It's about transformation on the deepest level. The new earth is emerging through the ashes of the old, and we are here to be midwives of that sacred birth. So hold this truth close. You are not here by accident. You are here now because your soul chose to witness and participate in this transformation. This moment is vast, sacred, and filled with opportunity. And though the road ahead may be chaotic, it is also holy. By trusting your inner knowing, staying rooted in unity, embodying the new earth, mastering fear, and embracing the collapse as a doorway, you become an anchor for the light that is breaking through.